when we go through. All right. You have to say that this is the integral of. I will share that whiteboard screen. I'm going to save it and try to email the images to you after the session. All right. 0 to pi on 2. Sorry. Pi on 2. Trying to write it neat up here. So this is equal to, if you take the integral, what is the integral? This is the integral of, so we could pull the half outside. And the integral of 1 is x. And the integral of minus cos 2x is actually minus sine 2x on 2. Zero to pi on 2. Okay. Yes, for those of you, I don't know if anybody came in late, but for those of you, this thing here, sine squared, is the same as this thing here. A half into 1 minus cos 2x. Okay. Why? Because of the previous slides before, the backbone before, whiteboard before, we showed that use the trig identity for cos 2a is 1 minus 2 sine squared a. Made sine squared the subject, and then integrating. So let's take the integral. Let's plug in now, right? Integral of x. So this is going to be you know what? Let me come down here. Equal to a half into pi on 2 minus. Now what is sine of 2 by pi on 2? Let me write out all the work in, all over 2. Right? And is that's when I plug in the upper limit. Right? And when I plug in the lower limit, it'll be 0 minus sine of 2 by 0. Sine of 2 by 0 on 2. This is nice and easy because look at what happens here. This is going to be a half into I have the pi on 2, leave it alone. What is sine of, remember this 2 will cancel with that 2 there to leave sine of pi. Okay? And sine of pi is sine of 180, which is 0. So this drops to 0. Okay, that drops to 0. So pi on 2 minus 0, that's the first thing, minus, well 0 is already 0, and sine of 0 is 0. Okay? Sine of 0 is 0. So really what you're left with is pi on 4 is the answer. Pi on 4. That's the answer. The integral of sine squared from 0 to pi on 2 is actually pi on 4. Let's go again. Okay, so this is question C, and question C asks you to integrate sine squared. Part E, well, we were going to leave out D, is not on the thing. Part E, sine 2x minus cos from 0 to pi on 2. Sine 2x minus cos from 0 to pi on 2. Next backboard. A, B, C, D. Integral from 0 to pi on 2. Sine, here starting D. Sine 2x minus cos x dx. Well, the good news is here we don't need any fancy identities. You can go straight into the integration. The integral of sine 2x is minus 1 over 2 cos 2x. And the integral of cos x is sine x. Minus sign remains there. Minus 1 over a cos 2. Yeah, so then plug in now from 0 to pi on 2. Please, if you're not following at any stage, just unmute your microphone and say, I'm not following. Okay? This is minus a half cos 2 pi on 2 minus sine pi on 2. You're just plugging in the upper limit first of all, okay? Substituting the upper limit minus the lower limit, which would be minus a half cos of 0 minus sine 0. What will I get? Life is easy. You know why? Because here, this 2 will cancel here, and I'll end up with cos of pi. What is cos of pi? Cos of pi, special angle, it's on the table, it's on the in the summary notes, I was supposed to tell you that towards the back of that, you would print, you were supposed to write over the, I have special angles, but I'm looking at number 2, all right? So this is a set of problems. Anyway, jump in the calculator if you're not sure. Cos of pi is minus 4 or 5 of your book, which is here you're going to get minus a half. You can follow. If you're not seeing what I'm talking about, minus unmute your mic and tell me that. Well, I'm not seeing a list of questions, all right? The objective today really is to just deal with the rest of integration methods. And by the rest of methods, minus a half. So the reason why I didn't send any cos of 0. What is cos of 0? Cos of 0. Kind of notes or anything on the email because there isn't anything new per se. Really, sine of 0. What we want to do is integrate using. But then you just substitute the numbers. So we get here minus a half and minus more advanced. Trigonometric, half minus 1 minus a half methods using again minus identities and using also anti-differentiation. All right, minus. Are people hearing? So the first bracket goes on to minus a half. 7 people, in case you're wondering. Yeah, the second bracket here, you're going to get minus. So what is minus a half? Okay, so we're moving on. And I want to have a look at these. I think we started to look at these last day, but just to recap very briefly what I'm talking about. Under one. Just to recap very briefly. What's the answer? What we said last day in terms of trigonometry, we said that the integral of sine x. Oh, is that possible? Well, when we deal with the applications, I will show you how that is possible. But yes, it's minus 1 over. You can double check. Make sure you're comfortable with the arithmetic, all right? But the arithmetic is really because it's the index is making this true. And we also said that the inverse cos of x. So yeah, don't have space. This is the rule. This is the formula. This is what you have to learn. This is equal to 1 over a sine x plus 2 plus 0. I'm just trying to write it here. All right. Really, yes, people. Those are the. Anybody have any questions with part E? I mean, if you have any questions, unmute your mics and just tell the man. Look, I have this part, this line. Integral of anybody? Alamanders is equal to minus cos x. Boisel, Ali.
I got so I got.
And the fact that the integral of cos x. Okay, thanks. Cool. Next one. Let's look at the other one then. That is part E. F cos plus sine all squared from 0 to pi. So this is a nice one. We did one like this before, but because indefinite integration. It's going to form the basis for F on the same exercise. All the integration. By the way, the only involving trig functions. 0 to pi and we don't have to get too complicated at all. But as you're going to see from the exercise and from some other problems we are going to discuss, as you would see, all squared. We need to use so the people want us to trigonometric identities. And if you again were to go back to the notes from the last time, how do I integrate that? What we said was integrate the function, the double angle formula, and so on. Recognize this. We'll have to expand that back. But in particular, and I'm going to probably I should do this as a separate thing. So let me get into this here. In particular, e squared is going to be cos two main functions that's sine squared. I need to be able to integrate. And I'm just but you can't stop there. You have to recognize without even have a plus 2ab, 2 cos x sine x. Limits. All right. I'm going to do this as an example without limits even. That okay. If you forget this cross term, so to speak, if you forget that, in trouble. Integral. So let's see. Let's see the last thing. Before I have to integrate, I'm going to use my square. Yeah, we did the same question before, but we didn't have any limits in it. So the people if you want to lose, so you might what do I do here? Cos squared plus sine squared is 1 plus, and the 2 cos x sine x using the double angle formula for sine would be sine 2x. So that's what I do.
Let me
So
see.
using your tricks, and this is a question they could ask you. This is on the syllabus. All of this thing on the syllabus, all right? They could ask you this. How to integrate this, and you have to know, well, you know what? 2 sine x cos x using the
Is
double
it better?
angle is sine 2x.
Yes, sir.
Take the
Yes,
integral
sir.
now. What do you get?
Very.
Well,
Make
this
sure and
is
tell me if
really-
there's anything like this, okay?
what's the integral of
So that
1 x?
I would know to follow.
What's the
So
integral
coming
of
back to
sine
it,
2x?
how do I integrate this thing? Sine squared. Remember the only
Integral of
rules
sine
you have
2x
to integrate is these 2 rules. These are the only rules to integrate
minus
sine.
1 over
Or
a
if you want to call it 4 rules then, all right? If you want to call it 4.
minus a half
This,
cos 2x, okay?
You know, integral of sine, integral of cos, integral of sine of ax plus b, and integral of cos of ax plus b.
From
How
0
do I integrate sine
pi
squared?
into.
How do you integrate sine squared? How do I do this?
And this is going to be equal to
Say, well, you know what
pi
the
onto
integral of sine is?
minus a half by.
So the
Cos.
answer is minus cos squared.
Now, this is going to be
Wrong.
what? Cos of 2 by pi on 2, not so.
That's totally wrong.
Cos of
What you have to
2x,
do,
2
and
by
if
pi
you
on 2, which is
recall,
cos of
if
pi.
we read the
First bracket,
little notes
upper
on the
limit, then you
thing
plug in the
here,
lower
right?
limit, you get 0
What you would
minus a half
recognize
cos
is I need to
0.
use an identity.
I need to use an identity
to
what do
rewrite
you get?
this function
but I get pi on 2.
in a form that I can actually,
Cos of
in a
pi
form
is
that
minus
resembles
1.
one of these things.
So minus a half by minus 1 is plus a half.
And then do the integral.
Take away.
So, which identity?
bracket.
So this is how we have
Take
to
away.
learn how
0
to do,
is
because they
0.
could ask you
Cos of
this,
0 is
right? This is
1.
a question that can be asked.
So 1 by minus
They
a
can
half is
ask
minus
you,
a half.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I keep switching.
So what I
between
end up
them.
with is pi on
They
2
can
plus a
actually
half
ask you how
minus
to
minus
integrate
a
this
half
thing,
is
okay?
pi
And
on
you will have
2
to know how to do it.
plus a half
This
plus
is
a
what I'm
half.
going to do.
You get 1
In order
plus
to
pi on
integrate
2.
this thing, I'm going to
What's the
say,
1?
first
Pi
of
on 2
all,
plus
recall
pi on
that
2
from the
plus
double
1.
angle formula,
Alright, people.
we have, so look
A
closely,
double angle
remember
formula that says cos of
the trick in
2a
this question really is
is
just to
equal to
expand
2
this
cos
bracket,
squared,
you know. The trick in this question is to make sure you can expand the bracket. You expand the bracket.
minus 1.
When you expand the bracket, you
It's
get
also
this.
equal to 1
And when you
minus
get
2
that,
sine
you make
squared
sure
a.
one. All right. It's also
Use your
equal to, as
identities.
you all know, cos
The
squared.
identity
The identity of sine squared plus cos squared is 1.
minus
That's
sine
the
squared.
identity. So
The
this was an
identity that
identity.
says sine squared plus cos
B.
squared is 1.
One of the double angle formulae that we had to learn.
And there's an identity that
And we
says,
said for cos you
in
have
case
3
you're not
versions, and
following,
it's very important
sine
that you know these 3
2a
versions.
is 2
Now, move along.
sine a cos a.
What I'm going to do,
So instead of
I'm
a, we
going
have
to
x.
use this version,
And
of
that's
the
how I was
identity.
able to
The one
rewrite
that tells
this.
me, you know what, guys?
Okay.
This is the one that tells me that cos 2a is equal to 1 minus 2 sine
So,
squared a.
so
Or
that
in
is
other
part
words,
f.
what it tells me is that cos
Okay, that is part
of
f for it.
2x and
Would be equal to 1
what I want to
minus
do,
2 sine
yeah,
squared.
I know my time is running out for this this second out of 3
Because
intervals that
instead of a, let's use
using,
x.
all right? But
Now if I make sine squared the subject of the formula here,
our
right,
objective now
then I'm going to
is to
get.
just finish up the methods, meaning.
So, you're gonna take
So I
this
have just
across
in the
here
next session we're gonna.
and take
So I
that
up
across
to
there. However
I did
you
up
want
to
think
F.
of
All
it,
right,
it's your
people.
business.
Probably
But I'm
what I
just
would
saying,
do, I'll
make
just
science
leave
for the subject of the
GHIJK
formula.
for you
If you make science for the
for you
subject
to
of the formula,
complete
you would get that
for
sine.
tomorrow.
Not my handwriting.
All right.
It's your writing.
And in the next session,
What would you get?
by the way,
You
are
would get
people
that
okay
sine
or
squared
comfortable with doing it so far? You think you could tackle these next 5 on your own?
It's equal to
I'll give you a hint.
1
None of
Yes,
them
minus
are.
sir.
cos.
Yeah, I think you should. So I'll leave these next 5 for you to
2x.
tackle on your own.
What
And
is
then
handwriting?
what I would do is we'll move on when we reconnect. You'll drink your water
And we
come
will
back
see how
on.
I got that.
When we reconnect, we'll move on to integration by differentiation.
hearing any
so to
answers.
speak.
So kind of
Alright?
does anybody
And,
not follow how I got that?
And that'll be it in terms of
Alright,
methods.
just unmute your mic and say if
Alright,
you're not
in terms of
following
methods.
how I got
That
sine
would be it.
squared
Any
is
questions
equal to
anybody have?
1 minus cos 2x on 2.
Let me just
Or
roll
half
call
into 1
again,
minus
right?
cos 2x.
Alamander,
You can write it
Chow,
like this
Brown,
also.
Johnson,
Half
Conliffe,
This is 1
Solitaire,
minus cos
Quashi,
2x.
Carrington, Carissa, Gomez, and
Alright.
Borza. If anybody,
So we all can see this then.
Israel and have any
Everybody.
questions, just
Great.
tell me. Right?
So,
any problems or questions or whatever. I didn't see
what
Abu,
it means
Abu Hamid, like she
is
didn't
if I
come back
am
on.
now asked, now
I don't
remember this
know
is an
why.
identity. These are all identities.
But,
We just put the equal sign, but really it's an identity. It holds true for all values of
I guess
x.
that's the thing when you
So,
are at home, you
really,
have flexibility.
If I have to
so
integrate
just come when
sine
you
squared,
want, leave when you
it is
want.
equivalent
You
to
could drink water
integrating
in the class, all of this. Anyway,
1
so
mi-
yes,
1
we'll
minus
log
cos
off, and then
2x
we'll
all
jump
over
back
2.
into
Right.
the last little thing to
So,
show you all.
That
The
is
last
how
kind
I'm
of
going to
idea
get that.
behind
this is equal to the
integrating
integral of
is
a half
integrating
into
by
1 minus
differentiating,
cos 2x.
which Seems
Where
stupid,
did that
but
come
in
from?
the
Well, this
way
is
I'm
where it
saying
came
it, but
from.
intuitively it will make sense.